Hello. Namaste, everyone. Good to see all of you. Thank you for being here. So, before we begin, let's just sit upright. We'll just close our eyes and we'll move into a very deep, slow breath meditation together. Just bring all your awareness into your heart, and on every exhalation, soften your whole body. Soften any emotional tension. Sink into the beingness in the heart, breath by breath. Bring both your hands to your heart. And let's just soften in a deep breath our hearts into a state of deep gratitude, to feel the sensation of gratitude in the heart. Now, whatever way it is for you, get in touch with, connect with the sacred, the divine God, whatever name, form, or formless or nameless it is. But let your heart deeply connect with that presence. Ask that presence to fill your whole heart, the whole room you're in, and to surround this entire class for our session today. Ask that presence to give you all the insights, breakthroughs, transformations, and miracles that your heart calls for. Slowly lower your hands and just slowly open your eyes. So good to see all of you. You can hear me okay, right? It's always fun to lead a meditation and realize my audio is not working. Happy 4th of July. Hope you all have some beautiful plans. Hopefully this class isn't in any way interfering with them. So this journey that we're on is a journey where we find it very important to show a person the relationship that can be very unconscious towards themselves, life, and what you'd call God or the divine, which will share at least our points of view on all of that in great depth. We're just taking it small steps at a time. But one of the things that I always found so frustrating in my journey of discovery is I found it so frustrating the times I felt that this God, whoever it was, however it was, didn't seem to be showing up or didn't seem to be answering my prayers, or when I needed it the most wasn't there per se. Not always. Sometimes booming miracles happen amongst all of that. But there's just a lot of confusion. And there's this lot of, for me, this concept of how I felt somehow disempowered, that I had to wait for the response of grace to solve something. And there was this sense of there's nothing I can do until it happens, etc. And as I grew further and further on my journey of discovery, I really saw these very deep pockets of misunderstanding, and as well as things that just needed to heal inside. And as I flowered more and more on my journey, it became very apparent to me this amazing relationship between me and life and me and the divine. And it's like when I got the hang of it, it was this not just a relationship, but a massive invitation to grow. And it's phenomenal. And so this entire course really aims at sharing with you, yes, so many tools that can be helpful, and so many wonderful things that is how you invoke and connect with the sacred, but also to really show you that the journey of inner transformation and growth is not separate at all from the journey of discovering the divine, and and also, probably most important amongst all of it, the journey of life showing up the way you really wish it to, or you deeply enjoying how life is showing up. And so this journey really aims at hitting that. So this first week, I won't go into it so much because the voice messages that we left, but this first week is a week where we had to start at the core. We just had to actually just say, okay, like I signed up for the spiritual course. I want to discover grace. I want to have more things in my life. I want to learn something spiritual. I feel called to it. But how terrible would it be if we just shared bullet points on a slide, a PowerPoint slide, and just saying, oh, here's a principle, here's a principle, here's a principle. And we never addressed what we found to be absolutely important, which is, what if you realize that you're literally the epicenter? You're the center point for your time and space. And so if that is an experience for you, that's an experience for me, then it really does matter about this very core question, which is, where are you at right now? Because for me, the experience I have as I've grown these days is that the only reality that actually is there for me, at least, is the forever now. It is this eternal moment of here and now. And so that really brings up a very big question of, how is my now? Is it filled with fear and anxiety, and I am literally contorting in the moment I'm in, running off in my mind into something just to move away from my experience of now? Or am I completely awake to the realization that here and now is it? This is my throne, my seat of eternity. I'm here. Am I awoken to that? And if I am being present, what is the quality? Am I enjoying my forever now? Everyone talks about heaven, talks about hell. My experience as I've grown, I think there's probably some astral heavens and astral hells. I've seen those. But my experiences that this forever now is either a moment of deep unconscious struggle, filled at the core of it with fear, or a place of deep, vast seeingness and massive acceptance, where kind of embracing and love is there. You're literally in love because you are that which is watching and not resisting anything. You're completely surrendered to the experience of your now. And I've found that this experience, if I'm unconscious, being tossed and turned, or if I'm taking responsibility of being vastly present and embracing, has everything to do with how life is showing up to me, which we'll really get into today. So it all begins with the awareness of where you're at. And so this journey, this course, and I think all of our work is really aimed at trying to help you not just see where you're at, but very technically understand, how do you flower into a state of feeling love, of feeling completely whole, of feeling completely connected to life? What does that look like? And how do you even do it? We can at least share what works for us. So this entire week has just been hopefully a glimpse and discovery. Nobody's perfect at it. Nobody's in a state of total, complete awareness every single second. I'm certainly not. I know Prem is not. But were you able to just keep coming back the best you could, just to see where you're at? And were you able to just, if you're able to, were you able to just say, yeah, it's okay to be there. It's okay that this is going on. Were you able to accept it? That's huge, absolutely huge, to have the heart open and flower. So this is kind of where we've landed so far. And I just want to open this up to you and ask, like, how are you doing? Has this been helpful this week? How has been your insights? Do you have any kind of questions, anything you want to share? So I'm going to turn the mic over to you. If you have a question, there's like a little raise hand button. And I'd just love to connect with you and hear from you. So please, if you have something you want to share or ask, let us do so. Hi, Ria. I'm sorry, it's Leela. Apologize. So it's like literally a big blur.
That's the first time I've been called that.
Just like IA. I'm like, I'll be Ria. Good to see you.
Yeah. So that, what I've discovered this week is what's there for me is guilt and so much regret and self-blame, blaming others. And I believe, my life is a result of God punishing me for the choices that I made, because I was bad. I did bad things. And I did those, I looked at that, made those choices out of hurt. And so consequently, my connection with God or the divine, I mean, God has got a huge connotation for me because of the church. But, when I go to pray, I don't know what to ask for. I don't know how to do it. I was taught to pray formally, which wasn't really a connection in the heart. It was by how eloquent your words were. And so yes, I'm not quite sure how to sit with that, or how to be with that, or how to process that. I've been talking to Bhagwan about it. He seems like a good intermediary. So if you have any suggestions on how do I proceed with that?
First of all, it's really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. So because you're speaking about Sri Bhagwan. I think you said Bhagavan, right? Is that you
Yeah.
said? You said Sri
Yeah.
Bhagwan. Okay. Hold on 1 second. So make sure I'm charging here. I remember once when I was a monk, he said something that was very, very helpful for me, actually. He was about to put me in some bigger processes, and was when you go in the bigger process, it's important to have some right understandings, because it can really freak you out. And one of the things that he was really trying to help me see, which I thought was really beautiful, is he was saying it's very, very important that you have the understanding that there's no judgmental God. It's absolutely impossible for God to take any stance of judgment. He says you have to see that. And of course, me being such a young guy and so ambitious, I was like, yeah, I already know that. And he stopped me again. And he said, no, just really contemplate on that. Try to really see the illusion that the mind has been telling itself that there's some God who can possibly judge you for any action you've ever taken. There's no judgmental God. Please see that. He's beating in my head for like 5 or 10 minutes. And because he just saw that I wasn't actually listening, and which was fine. I was so young. And then for like the whole next week, it was eating me alive. I mean, I just kept on having all of these insights where I held this belief that there was some old man sitting on the clouds somewhere judging my life because I haven't lived the righteous, true life, whatever the heck that is, from whatever book you're supposed to be reading. And it was mind blowing to me to see how much that gripped me. And and one of the things I think he also said was, the only judger in all of time and space is you judging yourself. And it's a very unconscious act. It was very powerful to hear that, because it's like, it gave me room to forgive myself. I've made so many brutal mistakes in my life, and destroyed so many relationships and hurt people so badly when I was younger. And to actually realize, wow, no matter what actions I take, there's no being that is sitting there judging me and then making me pay for it. And any guilt that I have, or shame, or anything that I judge myself with, well, what really needs to happen is something amazing, which is, it's time for me to forgive myself. It's time for me to say, you know what? It's okay. It's absolutely okay. So guilt and shame is really a unconscious trapping, because you can absolutely heal from it. It's that you just have to actually confront all the pain inside around that, which we'll go into in depth actually today. But learning to actually have compassion to forgive yourself is absolutely required and needed. And if you can't do that, even seeing how you cannot do that is the start of the process. So that's when you even say, I can't even forgive myself. I don't even want to forgive myself. That place, which is a very real place, is the start of the whole thing of self-healing. It's just like, perfect. You started the whole journey. Wonderful. You can't even do it. Great. You're right there. Is perfect. That's actually the start of the whole thing. So the thing that's nature's taught me, nature is so beautiful. All the answers are right in front of us in nature, actually, is that nature is absolutely random and spontaneous and chaotic. Nature does whatever it actually just wants to do and has no judgment either way. So all sorts of crazy things are happening. Ants build up a huge ant colony over 3 weeks, and out of nowhere, a bear comes trotting through the forest and steps on the whole thing. And then a older bear male will eat a younger bear cub, and a bird will go and grab a snake and eat it. And it was a mother snake, and there's babies everywhere. It's just brutal. I mean, absolutely, just everything's so randomly happening, and there's no God striking lightning bolts down on them. So when I suddenly realized I'm just forever in a process of growing, I'm making mistakes every single day, I realized that I have to forgive myself, because otherwise I won't actually be able to grow further. And every time I hurt somebody, which I always do, ask Prema, at least 3 times a day, I'm triggering her on something. I am at least taking the stance to learn from it and apologize. But whatever residue is left over, I take a moment to heal it inside myself. So I have to also let go of the fact that I'm not perfect. And I have once again made a very unconscious thing, you know? So we'll talk more about it, but maybe these things can be kind of helpful for you. Let's see, Maria, how you doing? Cool background.
Hello, everyone. I'm recovering Catholic here. So
awesome.
There's many layers of indoctrination to peel away.
Sure.
My question today is, can you please explain what the difference is between spirit and soul? I have a little bit of confusion with those two terms. Sometimes I think they're the same, and sometimes I find them different. Can you please shed some light on that, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all it will come down to is if you ask 20 different people, they'll give you their 20 different definitions of spirit and soul. That's unfortunately the bottom line of it all. But if you ask me about God, spirit, and soul, I would probably answer it along the lines that for me, the experience I'll start like this. When I was younger, there was this very strong sense of Doug inside. And Doug felt very separate from the rest of life. And I felt I was a unique individual. And then there was the rest of life. So when I started discovering grace and God and higher consciousness, it was something very separate of an experience. This, I think, is the state most humanity's in. At a certain point, and you just grow, happens very naturally and in stages for most people, like myself, very slow. What ends up happening is you realize there's no Doug inside at all, actually. You realize what you actually are is a silent, vast, aware beingness that always has been there and is only there. You see that the thoughts and personalities come and go, but it has nothing to do with who you are. You see that vast, silent witnessing, that vast, silent beingness that's perceiving out of the eyes is actually what's looking out of your eyes right now and everybody else's eyes right here. You literally look at other people, you're only seeing literally that which I am is looking out of their eyes. As you grow a little bit further, the experience is that which silently watches, there's a quality to it, slightly vibrating, an aspect of it, appearing as time and space. Everything is that which silently watches, experiencing itself. So that's why for me, it's hard to have the stance that there's an individual soul and then there's something else called God. The experience that I have is all there actually is this one being that is appearing as all different kinds of forms for its own delight, for its own infinite experiencing of itself. So definitely you could say that when this form passes away, the psychology and emotional body, they call them sheaves, koshas, if you want to look them up. There's some sheaves that actually maintain themselves, as you could say, is like a soul. But the unrealized, that would be like a solar spirit of some sort, go into the astral realms and then they reincarnate at a certain point unconsciously. For a person who's at a place where they can see past that, there's different options available where they don't have to come back. So that's kind of the one way to look at the whole thing. I would have to say that the only thing I can really see of anything is that there's just one infinite consciousness appearing as all things for eternity. You know, that's the experience, you know. Maybe that's helpful.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Hi, Louise.
Hi, I was just going to change the lights to be better, but doesn't matter.
No problem.
So I just wanted to share an observation that I got this morning out of a trigger from last night, because it kind of speaks to your question of kind of like how am I reacting to life, or I'm not even sure what your question was, but what happened last night was out of the blue, I had my husband said something which I reacted to not happily, because I was not expecting him to criticize me. And all of a sudden I'm being criticized and I didn't like it. And I was very triggered. One of the things that people have noted about me at work is I'm very organized. I prepare for everything, prepare. And what I realized is that my trigger was kind of twofold. On one level, it was like I didn't like being criticized. But on another level, it was like I wasn't expecting it. And what I'm seeing is there's a part of me that like, don't throw anything at me unexpected. Just don't. And so it's like I'm a big defense mechanism against it. And so one of the ways I, try and do it is I've got lists of everything and, lists of lists and so like but I hadn't kind of realized that one of the reasons I try to be organized is not so much to stay on top of things, but it's also just to prevent anything unexpected coming at me that I don't want. And that's kind of interesting to see it, because it seems to me that's a losing game to play, because life doesn't work that way. But I'm seeing there is a part of me that's like very defended, very, very defended. And if you have comments, they're welcome.
I think it's beautiful. It's very expected and extremely human. The fact that you're seeing all these things is great. Some people, it takes a while to see that. The whole class today is to actually address that in detail. So I'll hold off on anything to say because I'll go into it in depth to answer that question. So it's perfect, I think.
Thank you.
Yep. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, good morning.
Good to see you.
I guess afternoon. Bear with me because this is going to be a little choppy.
Yeah, go for it.
I think one of the things that I've been maybe realizing and observing and staying with, maybe since Prima shared on Wednesday night, that like deep down, she felt like there was something really impure about her. And then I kind of, asked a question and she answered it, but really the only part that I heard was that it's okay for me to make a mistake. And I think for so much of my life, I've been so terrified that there's something evil in me. And so I'm kind of like trying to do what I need to do to just let that be there and to like just be with whatever arises after the acknowledging of it. I think a whole lot of shame came out this last week, and then just being able to like witness that and be like, oh my gosh, Leslie, all of these things that you're telling yourself are not true. Just about how awful I am or how bad I am. And I've realized that my strategy to make up for it is to take care of other people and to be the thing that I think other people need or want. And that every time I do that, I sacrifice what I need or what I want, because I've never felt good enough to give it to myself. And it's just hard to come face to face with all that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really, really beautiful that all of that's cracking open. One thing I can tell you is that anytime big openings like this start happening, they definitely pass, and you'll land in a whole new space altogether. So all I can say is just keep staying with this and just let it like have the cry of your life, like let all this out. It's literally all not, it's all false stories that have just been very unconsciously surviving in you. And it's beautiful what's happening right now, although it might be very painful and confusing. But it all comes up if you allow it to. And the space you're going to be in after that is just absolutely worth the process you're going through. So let the volcano erupt and keep seeing deeper and deeper all these strange stories that have somehow found it inside of us, So
Thank you.
yeah, beautiful. Hey, John. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. All right.
You
Got it.
you called me about 2 weeks ago, and I literally didn't have a chance to call you back, and I apologize for that. I've been meaning to actually call you. Just the 2 kids it's just pure insanity. So
Well,
sorry for not
good.
returning the call.
Good. Well, you're forgiven. Don't worry.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was just calling to check in on you, and see how it is with another roommate. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to say I too was moved with Prema's, conversation about her past, and I've often, wondered, is something in a past life is what, that was kind of like what I was doing this week was like, well, what's inhibiting me from, I just haven't been happy lately. Things have been a little bit stagnant at work, and I've just been going through it. I don't think I've been fighting it, and on the relationship side and all that. And what was really beautiful for me this morning, because, the mind, I get now where Bhagavan says, we are not our minds. I totally get that now from all the
Yeah.
chatter, from some of the comments, reading with some of the people and what they're, talking about and all this stuff. The media and the hype and the everything that's going on in our world, this is not me. This is not us. It's like we just take on other people's mindsets, and it's just been crazy for me to get that clarity. And this morning, I woke up. It's my birthday, and I woke
birthday.
up. Thank you. And I woke up, and I just started. I immediately went into my childhood and thanking my mother and my father and being grateful. And my brothers and sisters when I was little, and we were at the old house and playing, and then it just went into family and my nephew and his girls, and my stepkids and granddaughters. And I was just thank you to everybody. It's just really an emotional time for me right now.
Mm.
And I'm actually contemplating sending out a group text to my brothers and sister this morning, which I may or may not do. But just to say, hey, I've learned a lot from you. Just want to say I'm grateful for you, and just saying hi, whatever it is. But which has been I
Yeah.
don't know. It's an I don't care, but I do care, right?
Yeah.
So, but I just want to say thank you. I mean, I didn't know where this course was going to go for me. I just knew that I was ready to have a breakthrough.
Mm.
And it's just a really emotional day right now. And it's good. It's good. I'm going to have a great day.
Beautiful.
Actually in Napa for the weekend.
Cool. Very cool.
So I'm really looking forward to some new experiences.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Happy
And
birthday. to
thank
you.
the ladies that spoke before me. I really, you touched my heart. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Happy birthday, man. Hey, Kat.
Hey, hi
Hello.
everybody. I just wanted to piggyback off of the lady that spoke earlier. She did touch my heart as well. I just wanted to share that during the last class, I had an experience that was very profound for me when I realized that I wasn't the mind, but I was always in my mind. And I finally had this just a wonderful experience about it. But then afterward, I was very mad at myself that I'm always in my mind and I'm never going to get out of my mind. And I felt completely like hopeless and all these feelings of like just horribleness for like weeks. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to get out of where I'm at. This is miserable. And like you said, it did pass, and I'm in a much calmer place when I catch myself in the mind. I don't beat myself up and hate me anymore for doing that. So it gets better. And I just want to thank you for giving us these process, all these lessons, because it is so helpful for us, because we need it. We need to grow and give ourselves permission to be where we are, and self-love. And you guys that for us, you give us like the courage to see what's there, and I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Oops, I pushed the wrong button there. And thank you all so much for sharing. I always forget this chat thing. Let me just check if there's anything going on in the chat. Okay, we're good. So what I'm going to speak about, and I'm sure Prema is going to really go into it as well, I could say is, to me, when I caught on to this, and there was nothing easy about catching on to this at all, but when I caught on to this, is the very core engine of my spiritual growth. So it's just, there's a part of me, it has an insecurity with the online classes and the work we do in general, where it's like, I feel like I'm always repeating this, and I'm hoping people aren't going to be like, another course and you're just saying the same thing. But it's like, there's just like, there's nothing more important than to hear this, and to hear it so deeply that you get it in a big way. So that's why we take the approaches we take. And people who've been in our courses before may say, yeah, you've talked about this. And it's like, yeah, this part's really important. And all the other things are really wonderful, but they all build off of this. And so I struggled with this for so long, and then finally it clicked, and it didn't click all in one day. It just slowly made sense. And I always call it ROI, and like in business, return on investment. The mind is such a business person. So when the mind sees that this is worth its investment of energy and time because of the reward it gets from it, then the mind actually helps you do this. But at first, the mind literally rejects this and will do everything to avoid this. These days, my mind is like a coach. It's literally like, get in there. So as we'll talk about. So I'm very happy my mind realizes the benefit of this, So what we're going to focus on this week is the art of self-healing. We're going to focus on this whole first week was just finally touching base with yourself. Like, where are you at? And at least with like the little asterisk star being like, don't judge it. Like, just like, yep, that's going on. This whole next week is now a week where we're going to deeply, deeply invite you to learning how to actually say, it's time for me to hold space and allow this to heal. It's time for me to learn to get in touch with the uncomfortable. And we're going to go through today sort of the mechanics of self-healing. I literally see things like mechanics. And so this whole process of self-healing, it's very simple, very straightforward. But understanding how it kind of works is really awesome, because it's pretty epic. How you can actually heal yourself. You can come out of shame. You can come out of guilt. You can come out of all these things that weight you down. No matter how intense fear finds you, no matter how saddened you are inside, this literally is what naturally happens one way or another of the healing process. So we're going to bring a whole bunch of awareness and light and understanding, clarity to sort of what happens very unconsciously, naturally over time. That's why I say, oh, time is the great healer. And it's like, okay, well, why is that? Like what mechanically is taking place that time healed the wound? Because when you see it for what it is, you go, oh, I can do that like right away. I don't have to wait 10 years to heal that. So this whole week is going to be focused on us learning to have the confidence and the understanding to step into the uncomfortable. So the nature of the mind, this is very, very important. The nature of the mind, if you look closely at your lives, you could say has two very specific modes. This is like really great to know this, because it just defines pretty much all of our conscious and unconscious activities. The mind does not want to experience anything uncomfortable. That's why you don't eat food that doesn't taste good. And that's why you don't partake in activities that don't bring a sense of reward or pleasure or joy of some sort. Like I don't see anybody taking sandpaper and rubbing it on their face. It doesn't feel good. Why the heck would I do that? So the mind also feels the same way about its internal world. If something's uncomfortable inside, the mind's like, get out of here. Like, I don't want to deal with this. So the mind will just immediately, before you even assess what's going on. That's why it's so unconscious, so powerful. It will say, let's go have a really strong cup of coffee. Or let's, you know what, I'm going to go for that long jog today. Or I just need to call somebody. Or let me pull up my phone and get on TikTok and just zone out for 30 minutes. It literally happened before you could even assess, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I have all these compulsive habits that I'm into? You can't even see it. And that's the unconscious life. That's why becoming conscious is straight up painful at first, because you're like, oh my God, I keep looking at my phone because I'm not happy inside. like take a hard look at why we have to like be searching for something on a mobile device. It's because the moment we're in, there's something uncomfortable we're just kind of trying to reach out to. So the mind's mode is managing the uncomfortable. Just move away from it. And the other mode of it is seek pleasure. Just do something that's going to be, I mean, we got to be happy, right? Like we got to go do something to be happy. So I don't really believe in right or wrong in life, but I do see that time and space consist of consequence. Everything's like cause and effect, you know, you call it karma, I don't know, but just everything's got cause and effect to it, as I see it at least. So there's unfortunately a consequence to the mind moving away from the uncomfortable inside. There's a consequence, and that's important to understand, because I don't like disagree with the mind. Like if you can just go off and do everything that makes you feel great, wonderful. But is there a consequence? And the answer is yes, there totally is. And it's a terrible one, actually. The consequence is this. When any moment throughout your entire life, you've gotten hurt, like any moment you get triggered or hurt, even if it's the subtlest thing or it's really a big painful moment, that pain, that huge experience is actually needing to be fully processed by the nervous system. That's what's happening. Like, you're undergoing an experience, and my God, sometimes it can be very painful, but the nervous system is doing what it just knows to do, which is to ache, to consciously ache as a healing process. It's like falling really hard and not breaking, but kind of spraining your shoulder or arm or wrist. It aches for days, but that actually is somehow the restorative healing process for it. But our mind, and its tremendous power, is so unconscious to the realm of self-healing emotionally, that when all that pain is there, the mind is like, get out of here. Are you kidding me? I don't want to feel this. So you're going to immediately rush to a movie, get out, talk to somebody. You're doing everything you can to manage this pain or hurt or fear or grief. You're somehow trying to get back to where you were before this ache has happened to you, this incident of whatever, small or large. We have thousands of them in our lives. So the consequence to it is when we did not let the nervous system feel and stay with the uncomfortable, stay with the ache, whatever definition you want to give it as an emotion, fear, hurt, pain, sadness, loneliness, whatever. Then what happened is it got stuck inside of you. We had stopped the actual natural body's healing process. So let us say an incident happened and 100 units of pain has found you. I'm just going to sort of riff on this. 100 units of pains inside of you. I just made that up, so it means nothing, just for measurement's sake. In the first maybe 30 or 40 minutes of it all happening, you actually kind of are slightly staying with it. And all of a sudden now it's whittling down. There's 80 units left of this uncomfortableness of pain. But all of a sudden the mind's really starting to kick in. Maybe other people don't understand either, so they're trying to support you getting out of there as well. Makes sense. And so you now just do everything you can to numb out that pain. You distract yourself, you stuff yourself with food, drink a bunch of coffee, whatever life gives you. There's tons of fun things to do to numb yourself. You do them all. All of a sudden, there's this 80% of this pain that now is getting compacted inside. I mean, it literally starts getting compacted because the mind starts becoming very clear. I'm not going there. This just is going to heal on its own. And it starts getting compacted inside. It could be something very small, but still got compacted. So let us say, no matter how much you're trying to compact it, still several more units of pain finally get released one way or another, but still 50% of it's inside of you. Then you truck along 2 or 3 years later and something else happens. Whatever, who knows? Your partner finds somebody better to be with. That always hurts. So all of a sudden now you're really hurt with that. And again, the same process, you're 50% of it got healed by the fact that your mind didn't have the strength to avoid it, but your mind really was able to pack away the other 50% because it's just so strong. These layers build up all throughout our lives and they remain there. It's dirt under the carpet. I mean, it's just there. So let's talk about that relationship. You found somebody, you thought they were going to be there for you forever. And somebody 10 times more attractive, 10 times more wealthy, and 10 times more evolved in intelligence and consciousness found them and swept them off your feet. Truly somebody better. That hurts, right? I've been there. So you got hurt and there's 50% of that pain left. Now, 3 or 4 years later, you go to a party and this brand new $100,000 Tesla rolls up. And this gorgeous looking guy or girl gets out of the car you've never seen before and opens the door. And there's your sparkling partner, happier than they've ever been in their entire life. How do you feel? I would freak out. You're wearing some kind of gritty shirt, didn't even know it was a high-end party. You're not looking your best. What are you going to do? Probably want to just run up and leave, right? I mean, this is probably all things we face in our 20s. Let's just say we're in our 20s right now. These days, I just don't care. Point is that person, is their partner or that shiny Tesla causing you pain? I mean, are they somehow sending pain beams to you? The answer is no. What's happening is you have unresolved hurt that your mind would not let you do anything heal because you had no proper understanding to it. And now that hurt is shielded by psychology. You have a story to that hurt. Oh, that person, they don't like me. No one loves me, blah, 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 whatever it is. Now you see that person at the party, and all of a sudden that hurt is tapped on. You're emotionally distressed. Now, what does the mind do? The mind says, run. So you're either running to drink a bunch of alcohol, or you're literally going to the bathroom and sneaking out the back door, whatever. Point being, your mind is like, we're not going here. Not today, not with this. Nope. So this is just a small example, but this happens in any kind of relationships, like with your father or your mother or your partner or your brother's siblings, your people at work. So this isn't the problem of the other, and it's not actually the problem of nature itself. It's a problem of unconsciously the mind's habit to move away from pain towards pleasure, and the consequence that takes place as a result, which is it's stuck inside of you. Like, that sucks. It's no fun. So that's why you see a child, he's so gleefully happy. See them when they're a teenager and they're kind of like, what the heck am I doing here? See them in their 20s, they got more weight on them, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It's like they got this backpack of tons of bricks of the weight of life. And if they don't do anything about it, every aspect of them, their bones, their body, everything gets stiff and hard, and all that emotional pressure turns into ulcers and cancers and disease and bad habits and bad choices, misery, and they make everybody else miserable. So can you relate to anything I'm saying? Does this somehow maybe possibly apply to somebody you might know? I'm so guilty of all of this. Holy God. So point being is that now you're a person bruised inside, feeling ugly inside, feeling broken inside, feeling terrible inside, and you think everyone else is happy. That's like the worst one. I was broken as I finally made it by the time I was 25, as ruined as I was inside myself. I just wanted to die. I really believed everyone else wasn't feeling that way. Like, I really believed that. I thought everyone else had it figured out, and I am this broken being. And no one would talk to me about it. Like, I try to tell people, like, I don't feel good inside. Like, I feel horrible. And the other person would be like, sorry, bro. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So like, that was it. No one had the emotional awareness to actually be like, let's talk about that. Let's find a solution to that. The only solution I tell you is take some pills. So this is why this whole first week, my whole thing was, or Prema and I both, was just, where are you at? Can you see it? Like, can you see it? That's really important. Because these hurts, these pains, these unresolved things is literally bringing you the chaos of your life. It is literally disconnecting you from being completely in harmony with life. We're talking about grace and God, talking about the infinite intelligence of the whole, talking about the ecstatic joy and love of vibration, the consciousness itself. We'll say, I'm not experiencing any of that. And I want grace. I want God. I want to be in harmony. And that's why we're saying, here we go. It all starts right here. Let's do this. Let's do this. So this is why there's an inbuilt thing in life that's always helping to heal you. And this is the number one confusion about time and space. Time and space is not at all what you think it is. It is a really amazingly beautiful thing. It is a complete mirror of your internal world. It's awesome. It is there to help, but you got to know the rules to the game. So how this works is whatever's stuck inside of you, whatever is not resolved is like a bound energy. Life is all the time in nature and everything trying to find its cancellation. Like when one thing is there, the other equally is there. As life is growing, another life is their aspect of life is constantly tearing it back down. Energy is stuck, life will conspire to unbound it. That's why the ancients would call it karma. You say, well, I missed something in my past life. It's something this. I don't know why life's showing up the way it is. And it's like, yes, I will tell you exactly why life is showing up the way it is. And who cares if it's past lives? Who cares where it came from exactly? It's showing up because it is tapping on something that is asking to be unbound or released or healed. It's just that we don't have the understanding how to play the game. And the game is very simple, but it's the one thing the mind doesn't want to do. We have to let our nervous system do its job. We have to let the nervous system feel fully. We have to allow the nervous system to experience the uncomfortable fully. To heal, we have to very consciously allow the body to feel. This is why every relationship, every moment of the day, life can bring us something that's trying to get unlocked inside. But there is always the choice, which is, will you choose to allow yourself to be present and stay with the uncomfortable sensation so your nervous system can process it in its own way? Or will you shut it all down and immediately dodge that experience and move and somehow avoid and run off? The consequence to that is that kind of experience, tapping at that thing that's bound or unhealed inside of you, will come again right away. It'll come the next day, it'll come the next week. It only is trying to unrelease something. That's all that's happening. I call them the messengers. The FedEx person is going to come every day until that box is delivered. So this is why there's the game of life, which is you use any moment throughout the day that you feel uncomfortable inside, or you get triggered, you get hurt, something strikes you, the uncomfortable is there, that you're aware of it. You use it as this amazing opportunity to allow yourself to heal. So that's why I always say to myself, I take responsibility for the pain inside of me, and I'm going to allow it to now heal. Now, when I get triggered by somebody, I'm always very, very critical and judgmental for the first 15 or 20 minutes. If you insult me, I'll hate on you inside my mind for at least 15 or 20 minutes. I'll be like, this person didn't think they are, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, I'll literally puke out a bunch of nonsense because I don't want to stay with the uncomfortable. Not even deeply aware of the uncomfortable. I'm just reacting at the first wing of it. Prema calls it throwing up. We throw up for the first 15 or 20 minutes. It's just natural, it happens. Nothing you can do about that. But then after 15 minutes or so, I'm aware, oh my God, I got triggered. Like, man, this is painful. Man, this person really hit me inside emotionally. Man, this is painful. So now I know I got to heal this. I got to do this right here and right now. So what I do, this is the mechanical part, is when I get triggered by anything of life, loneliness, sadness, fear, hurt, pain, anything uncomfortable is coming up inside of me, that I'm actually able to become aware of it, the first thing I do is I bring my whole focus into my chest to where the pain is. I've always found, emotionally speaking, it's like from the throat here to the torso. It's just somewhere in here. It's like vastly uncomfortable. So I like see it. And the first thing I do is I start slow breathing. Like we talked about, the slow breath will bring up the Kundalini, will bring up the life force. It'll fill you with the ability to stay vastly present. At the same time, slow breathing will deeply quiet and disempower the mind, which is absolutely needed because that mind is reeling. It wants to run away from this. It does not want to do this. So we need to get the strength over top of the mind. The slow breath is very, very helpful. In fact, it's a must for me, at least. I think Prem is the same way. I can't do it without breathing. So when I'm aware that I'm hurt and I'm aware that I want this to now undergo its healing process, I don't care where it came from in my childhood. I don't care anything. All I know is this wound, my body can heal it, but I have to hold space for the nervous system to feel it. So I start breathing deep and slow. My entire focus is right breathing in and out of the actual epicenter of the pain. So let's say it's like right here, somewhere in my chest, it aches. I'll literally be breathing in and out of it. And every single exhalation, for me at least, Prema might be different, but this is what I do every time. Every time I exhale, I soften my body. So my shoulders, my face, my chest, my stomach, any kind of resistance, I breathe and I soften out of any kind of physical, emotional resistance. So I'm allowing myself to feel it as raw as possible. That's why I'm saying this is an easy thing to do, but your mind is like, I don't want to do this. This does not feel good. Ice cream feels good. This doesn't feel good. So the subtle note to the whole thing of self-healing for me is I've learned I'm not doing this to quickly get through it. No, that's actually a kind of resistance. The only thing I'm here to do is stay as present as possible, bring my awareness completely to the feeling, have zero resistance, and the rest my nervous system will do in its own timing. It's just going to ache. It's going to ache. I'm allowing myself to consciously ache with no resistance. So it's kind of a deep peace that's happening. It's like this amazing space of consciously allowing myself to soak and embrace and experience the uncomfortable. So my nervous system now is feeling this pain. My mind is trying to reel, but the deep breath keeps shutting it down. And my awareness being in my chest doesn't allow for me to go for the story. Now, for me, when I stay with something, a lot of times it gets more and more and more intense as it's trying to bubble up. At a certain point, it gets so intense, kind of peaks, and then very naturally, it all starts dying down, dying down, dying down. It's like a pimple popping, actually. It gets so pressured up, it kind of has this moment where it's just like, this is so intense. And then it just starts dissipating. And then I can't even remember, I just went through that process. That's the great thing about memory. When the charge is gone, when the thing's released, the entire memory of the situation just dissolves. There's no memory. You don't even, the person kind of hurt, you don't even care. The total forgiveness and healing is the natural outcome of this. Like you don't, it's not that you forgive the person. You don't even care that they hurt you. Like it's like, you guys are so good. It's not even, you wouldn't even talk to them about the whole thing. Only in a laughing side joke, maybe. So today we're going to go through a process, and I just talked your heads off. We're going to go through a process today where we're going to take our first steps at just allowing ourselves to feel whatever's there. So we're not here to save the day, heal ourselves entirely. No, we're going to just allow ourselves to just breathe and feel whatever's there. And it doesn't have to be that there's something uncomfortable inside of you. But if there is a little bit of fear, if there is a little bit of lack of feeling whole or complete or a sense of great joy, our whole stance is, let me actually feel that. Like, what is this loneliness? What is this little bit of boredom and restlessness? Like, what is there? And let me breathe, and every exhalation soften, and let me let my whole heart, breath by breath, feel. Let me let my nervous system feel like a nerve. And let me just stay put with that. Let me every time soften further and allow my nervous system to feel deeper. So this is our whole journey this week, is we're now going to become vulnerable to life. We're now going to realize all relationships, all time and space is giving me opportunities to untether, to release anything that's bound. I just have to see life as a benevolent process of trying to release. It's just I have to start becoming conscious of my mind's habit to avoid and run away and suppress when things are trying to release. I'm going to now awaken to a space where I consciously take responsibility for my well-being by consciously allowing my nervous system to experience and do its natural cleansing and healing process, etc. So does this all make sense? Cool. Does this resonate with you? Is this okay that we're going into this? Okay, cool. So let us just take a break for 3 minutes, use the restroom, and we'll dive into a beautiful process for a little bit. Okay. So the process is going to be very straightforward. It's exactly what was just spoken. We're going to all collectively go into a breath of meditation for about 12 minutes or so. And I'll guide it through there. But as you breathe, the whole purpose of your awareness is to be in touch with the moment by moment feeling of your chest and heart, how the whole torso is feeling. And your every exhalation, you're softening the whole torso, you're opening the heart. The heart opening is becoming so aware that there's no resistance. That's the flowering of the heart, actually. So you're allowing yourself to breathe in and out of the heart, forever softening and allowing yourself to experience what is there. And it does not matter what comes, what goes, what is there, what is stuck. Doesn't matter if there's no feeling at all. You are not here to care about what the content is. We're allowing ourselves to consciously just soften and let the whole torso feel and experience breath by breath. It's a very beautiful experience. So let us close our eyes and sit upright. Keep your palms face up on your thighs. And just first start with some deep breathing. So breathe deeply as the belly button, the diaphragm belly come out like a balloon. The air will go all the way to the top of the throat. And you're going to exhale twice as long as your inhalation. Just a natural, gentle, slow exhalation. And just repeat. Inhale, belly comes out like a balloon. Air to the top of the throat. And just exhale twice as long. Soft, gentle, natural. Now, as you're breathing like this, gently bring your whole awareness into the center of your chest and visualize you're breathing into the chest and you're exhaling out of the chest, relaxing the whole torso. Your exhalation should soften physically and emotionally any form of resistance or tension. You're melting into your seat. Now, as you breathe, allow yourself to fully feel, let your whole heart and nervous system feel as you're breathing. We're going to do this now for the next 12 minutes. So you can remain in meditation as long as you want. We'll see you tomorrow on Telegram. Namaste.